Do not adjust your digital device. What you are about to see and hear may shock and appall you. Join our hosts as they encounter countless thrills, spills, chills, and hilarity as they explore the very weirdest in pop culture. The following media is so strange, so beyond the scope of what is normal, it will make you ask the question, why does this exist? Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Why Does This Exist? I'm Chris.
And I'm Rob.
And today we will be discussing a very interesting musical act. I'm honestly surprised that I had never really listened to it up until the last couple of weeks, maybe.
I honestly only found out about it pretty recently myself. Like a few months ago, I was listening to, I don't even remember what radio station I was listening to on Spotify, but it came up and I was like, how have I never heard of this band? But continue.
Yeah, I only read about them because they had famous members who went on to go found Tool in at various points in time. Danny Carey and James Maynard Keenan, but I think I'd only seen it on like a Music Choice, like fun fact, and I had never looked into them. Of
and
course,
they did have a hit song in the 90s too.
Oh yeah, they did. It was like huge. Actually, it was like the number one song for like weeks and the most requested song for like a while. We're talking, of course, about Green Jellÿ, if you can't read or didn't bother paying attention to the title card, which most of you probably did. Both of you probably did. We are Why Does This Exist? We're a show that talks about the weirdest in pop culture, whether it's a strange musical act like we're about to do, or wrestling stuff like we did a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the problems with AEW. And there are many. Unfortunately. And there's also a bunch of other stuff that we'll talk about, movies-wise, like Big or anything else, like we did a few weeks. Anything past, present, and future, we will talk about, as long as it's weird and, well, that's really all that the criteria is. The bar is low, everyone.
Yep.
So, you can support the show. If it's your first time, then you could go right ahead and turn it off because we know you hate this thing because, oh my god, the quality's not up to my standards. Well, good for you. Or you could go ahead and turn us on to your next door neighbor whom you don't like, and you could just torture them that way.
Just put the speakers up to the wall and blast it through the wall.
Exactly. And then leave your house.
Yeah.
Just, I don't care where you go or what you do.
Start it out on episode 1 and go on vacation so it'll play through all of our content.
Yeah, that's 117 episodes after today. So just give your neighbor a hell of a time.
Yeah.
You could support the show by listening to it. If you're going, you can do that wherever you get your podcasts, of course. We prefer you do it on Spreaker because we get more money that way. Or you can support us by heading over to Patreon. That's patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. And you do that. Our man Tony's always putting up articles, and we're putting them up. Tony has a lot of illegitimate children, so we would like to help Tony. Well, we'd like to help Tony pay for them, or at least get some vasectomy surgery. The man doesn't have insurance, so whichever one's cheaper, you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. Give us as little as you like or as much as you want, and we'll let you into our Discord server where you can just hang out with us and Tony, and you can chastise him for, well, simply not taking care of things. You can also just do it one time, and you can go to buymeacoffee.com/whydoesthisexist and be on your merry way. You can also follow us on various social media platforms. I think you can. I don't care if you don't. Or you can head over to our YouTube channel, which may have been the way that you found this, and just do all the interactions, like, comment, subscribe. It'd be nice to get to 50 subscribers. That would be a treat.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can also just email us at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com. That's the news. Here's the weather. You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge from a ragtag group of rogues, so let's get on with the goddamn show. We're talking about Green Jellÿ today.
Yes, the most famous band you've never heard of.
Yes, exactly.
Uh,
And
w-
quite parallel to our musical history, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even believe that I've never heard of them because like this is literally like right up my alley. Like it was like, especially like back when I was like really into like all kinds of like rock and metal and punk. Like this is like literally what I would be listening to. So I don't know if like I have a there's an interesting theory out there that like all this Mandela effect stuff that's happening is because like timelines are getting crossed and people are saying it's because of the Large Hadron Super Collider being turned on and off and whatever. So maybe that like somehow we jumped into another timeline where Green Jellÿ exists and that's why I only heard of it recently, even though they've been around since literally 1981.
I don't know.
Uh
Like I said, I only maybe ever heard of them from a music choice fun fact during like a Tool song or something.
yeah, which again, uh, it's hilarious because literally Danny Carey and Maynard James Keenan were in this band. Like like what? Like this is like they're
Well,
like in
actually,
Tool, and it's like which obviously like most people I think I feel have heard of Tool, and like how have I never heard of Green Jellÿ? Like
I have no
it just
idea. I'm surprised that they didn't. Well, I mean, to my knowledge, they didn't tour with Guar, but I'm sure that they did at some point.
they're very Guar
They're
adjacent,
very
so
Guar like.
they would have
I'm
had to have
sure they
toured with
did.
Guar. If they
But
didn't, then that's a travesty.
yeah. Well, anyway, so Green Jellÿ happens to the Bill Manspeaker is the man's name. They
Yeah.
happen to have the Guinness World Record for the largest band period, and that's because Bill Manspeaker has this weird thing where like they have such a cult following that their legion of fans they allow them to come. It's real like when he's doing a tour, he can do it just him going to all these different places just by himself and just booking the venue and he'll just invite the band he'll invite the fans to come on stage and participate because Green Jellÿ or Green Jello they don't they don't they don't rehearse. They just show up and they play the songs and if you know like the basics of the songs then that's fine and they're not like he doesn't care about it sounding like the record. He just wants it to happen. Like
Yeah.
he's just about whatever's going on in the moment because he's like, I just want people to come here and enjoy themselves. It doesn't. They're not gonna remember whether or not the music sounded perfect or anything. They're just gonna remember that they had a good time,
Yeah.
which is the right way to go about it. I'm not saying don't rehearse. You should absolutely rehearse if you're
Yes.
in a band, but Green Jelly is different, or Green Jello is different. They like to he
Well,
he'll
they were
just
originally named Green Jello. We'll get to
right.
that in a sec
But
also.
he'll farm out the band from like whoever's coming to the show. Like
Yeah.
he'll just say, "Okay, I need a band for like this show in Teaneck, New Jersey," and then people who live in Teaneck who were gonna go anyway, they'll just say, "Oh, I can play,"
Yeah.
and then he has the whole band, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. Whether or not he pays them, I don't know, but they probably don't even care.
Yeah, I would say they probably don't care because it's just like, very that underground feeling, of just being like playing with like like at a show, an underground show with like crazy fans and it's like it's not about the money, it's just about having a good time and playing some kick-ass music, you know.
Exactly, and they like he does crazy stuff on stage with like paper mache puppets and things like that, and
Yeah.
like they I don't know if they still do, but they had a residency at like the Whiskey a Go Go for a while, and they also had um he had his own residency that like during COVID of like a studio that he bought that was like a former yoga studio. Well, not bought, but like he was renting it out or whatever.
Yeah.
And he like changed the name from like Studio Art, which was the name of the yoga studio. He left that on there and he put an F so it was the Studio Farts. And like and like it had started during COVID. He just started filming live TV, like just live 3 hour Green Jelly performances to like to to just like have something going on, and he would just broadcast them on the internet. It became this big thing, and he
You
would
know,
just do it for free. And like I think most of his shows, like anyone can just walk in,
yeah.
like he just wants people to show up.
Green Jellÿ would have been like the perfect band to headline the Meat Locker. Like this is
Oh
like a Meat
yeah,
Locker band. Like
yeah.
and actually I've even myself had like thoughts in the past of like
I wish I had known about them in like when we were playing the Meat Locker
I
all
wish
the
I did
time.
too. Like we would have been this would have been perfect to play with Green Jellÿ. Like I don't understand how we never heard of them. And again, I think it's a friggin' alternate timeline that we have jumped into because there's like no possible way. Like how could I have never heard of Green
Yeah.
Jellÿ
Even
before this
knowing our
year?
good pal Chuck, I'm sure Chuck would have mentioned them.
Exactly.
Like this is a Chuck band.
So this is now turning into a conspiracy podcast where we discuss how we're in a friggin' alternate timeline and why we crossed over. Because really, like this is like it
We
blows my mind how I've never heard of them like before like this past year. Like it
yeah.
really blows my mind. And it was just I got lucky. I was listening to Spotify, and I don't even remember what station I was listening to at Spotify. It might have been like Alice in Chains radio or just like the 90s rock station. I don't remember. Or like 90s metal or something. I don't even recall. But like all of a sudden this like band or this song, which is their most famous song, which for those who are wondering, we mentioned it in the intro, it's Three Little Pigs, which is literally the story of the Three Little Pigs, except in like a punk rock song. Um and it came on the radio and I'm like, this is interesting. And I started listening to it and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, how have I never heard of this band? I'm like, okay, maybe it's just some really obscure, like super underground band that like never really went anywhere. So then I did some research and I saw that like how big they were and like all the shit they had done and who was in them, like Maynard James Keenan and I'm like, what? I'm like, how is this possible that I've never heard of them? It doesn't even make sense to me.
No. And they have like this rabid cult following, and it's kind of
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah.
But the the guy started in Buffalo, New York, Bill Manspeaker, and then he like eventually took it over to California, where they reside. But he was just nuts. Started in '81 as Green Jello. They were pretty much none of them were really good musicians, and none of them really cared
Yep.
because he just wanted to do it, so he just did it anyway. And they were like, it doesn't. He got it that it doesn't really matter how good of a musician you are. The connection is what matters.
Yep.
Like, I mean, and it was the perfect time to be punk. Really, it was '81,
Well,
so
that
you
was the,
know,
you know, hardcore punk,
yeah.
you know,
No, it was
that was it. That was the new wave, and
exactly, and he was at the right place in the right time, and,
yeah.
they were playing in Buffalo, and, they had, like, some crazy stuff happen at their shows where, like, they kind of had to move out of Buffalo basically because of all of these things that, like, were happening at their shows, like, people used to bring food to, like, to the venues. Like, they used well, like, there was okay, so they were like the food fight band, basically. So, like, here's what I mean. And, some of these stories are off of, Amino, on the metal page for, like, Green Jellÿ. I don't really know what Amino is, but it's a thing. Um, One of the band's earliest shows was held in a Masonic temple in Kenmore. This is kinda like a wiki, but not really.
Huh,
It's kinda reminds me a little bit of, like, early Facebook, MySpace, I don't know.
that's
Um,
interesting.
During the show, members of the rowdy audience broke into the venue's kitchen mid-concert and found a full case of ice cream sandwiches, which they proceeded to throw at the band. By
Oh,
the end of the night, the stage was ruined, and Green Jello had to reimburse the venue for damages and cleaning. Another early gig at a YMCA also ended in the band having to pay for cleanup, this time for spilling a large amount of fake blood on the carpets. Why would that be in the YMCA? You know what? I guess it doesn't matter.
it was
The
just a
band
place to
acquired a
rent.
Yeah, I guess. The band acquired a reputation as a food-throwing rock band, and audience members started bringing their own green Jello to shows, which they would then throw at the band. The group was eventually banned from Buffalo Music Club McVans for an act that included smashing televisions on stage with a sledgehammer. they temporarily changed their name to AJP, American Jello Party, copying the Sex Pistols' trick of changing their name to Spots. Sex Pistols on tour secretly in order to play shows in places where they were banned, including McVan's. This proved successful and they got into McVan's only to repeat their destructive conduct and be banned again. Following this, the name was changed back to Green Jellÿ and they attempted to book different shows. But yeah, they would do all that crazy stuff, and like the band were like so confused. Like even the Ramones, they opened for Green Jellÿ opened for the Ramones at Buffalo State College Outdoor Free Concert, and the audience threw Jello, whipped cream, and pudding at them, and
Oh my god.
the remote and so Green Jellÿ was covered in this stuff, and then the Ramones equipment stuff. So like Ramones were probably pissed off too, and like years later in like an interview with New York Rocker magazine, which is probably defunct, Joey Ramone specifically said Green Jellÿ was the worst band that ever opened for the Ramones.
Wow. That's
And
quite an honor.
yeah, I mean they build themselves similar to what we did as the
Yes.
world's worst band.
Yeah, so let's talk about this for
and
a second because
like they picked the name because like a friend suggested it because lime flavored Jello was the worst Jello flavor,
it's
and
like
Bill Manspeaker was like, "Well, that flavor sucks. The band sucks. So yeah, let's call it Green Jello."
let's talk about this for a second because people are not going to believe us that we didn't style ourselves after Green Jellÿ.
No,
Like
this was totally by accident, but we
I
kind of
swear on
we fell
everything.
into a different
Yeah,
trajectory.
yeah. I have literally never heard of Green Jellÿ, and especially when we were playing and when we formed Zamboni, I had never heard of Green Jellÿ once, and almost everything about Green Jellÿ is what we were modeling Zamboni as. Like
Yes.
we were not serious. We were like very like comedy. We wanted to be offensive and comedic. We're playing like really not the greatest. We weren't trying to be great at our instruments. We were just
No.
playing. And uh what else?
We
You
just
know,
wanted to have fun and bring
yes.
people together.
Yeah, and we build ourselves as like the worst band ever and that we were
Yeah.
terrible and even we had Sucks the Stupid EP as one of our EPs. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like it blows my mind. Like we were like literally Green Jellÿ is like the successful Zamboni. Now,
Yeah,
and to the point where
had we kept going, we might have been the second coming.
yes. When and even like the fact so originally they were called Green Jellÿ and Kraft Foods, the owner of the Jello brand, actually threatened legal action against the band to change their name to Green Jellÿ. And literally, Frank J. Zamboni and company threatened legal action against us to change our name.
Yes.
It's like, it's uncanny. Like, I mean, I guess they say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, but I don't know. This is pretty close.
It is fairly close. Well, it does rhyme because we broke up not too long after the name change,
That's true.
where
Unfortunately,
they kept going because he threw the what? Because like, okay, so he talks about this as in this like 15-minute Vice short documentary that they did like 10 months ago, on Green Jellÿ. So the Y still is pronounced as an O. It is still pronounced as Green Jello somehow.
oh,
So like, but this is because of Bill Manspeaker's like logic that he throws into it. So he threw the Y in there and he put the umlaut over the Y, and he tells people that because there isn't really a umlaut sound over a Y. That's just not. It goes over vowels normally. Where he said, where like he's like, oh well, the Y, the umlaut over the Y turns the pronunciation to an O. So it's still Green Jello, even though it's not.
oh yeah. Okay, so I guess there you go, Green Jellÿ. And
Yeah,
it satisfies the legal threatening because they did change the name technically, even if it's pronounced the same.
exactly. But it's just funny, and that didn't
You know that
happen until
that was if we had known about Green Jellÿ, then we could have done something like that and probably been still Zamboni. You know,
probably could have. Yeah,
damn it.
that's all
Well,
right.
the
It's too late. It doesn't
some
matter. I was thinking about this the other day because we changed the name to Nuclear Hatred, and we always hated that name, and we
yes.
didn't want to change it again.
Right.
So we like abandoned the project and decided we're better off just doing something different, but we never did that something different. We
Yes.
might do that soon, but we're not ready to talk about that.
Yeah.
Um, but we like what like I was thinking about this yesterday. I was walking back from the doctor's because I'm still I still got a cough. There it is on cue. Um, and and I was like, why didn't we just change the name to Nuclear Option? That would have been better and funnier.
Yeah.
Because it and also tongue in cheek because changing the name was the nuclear option as far
I
as like a band is concerned.
we were so like taken like by surprise by that and like blindsided. I think we were just looking for something, and Nuclear Hatred just happened to be the name of one of the songs. So like, oh well, let's just name it after one of our songs. But
Yeah.
like, we should have really probably put more thought into it because we would have probably been able to find something.
We should have done that, and also I shouldn't have been so hasty with changing all of the accounts and URLs because that's what really stopped the momentum dead because
Yeah.
all they got was 404s after that, and I wasn't thinking and I blew it.
Well, you know what? It's not anybody's fault. It's fucking Frank J. Zamboni and Company's
Well,
fault
this is true. It's not
for
even
being
Frank J.
assholes.
Zamboni's fault. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's
Let's
been
piss
dead
on
for
his
like
grave.
100 years. It's whoever the douche in the legal department is, which I'm not sure if we can even say their name,
I don't
but
even know their name. I don't remember.
oh, I remember. It's
Oh.
burned into my mind.
I've put that chapter of my life out of my brain because it pissed me
I
off.
I have moved on, but this person's name remains. And I whatever they're doing, I hope it hurts.
I hope they go down in a Ponzi scheme.
That would be the greatest,
Yeah.
especially since they're a lawyer. So they
Well, they're
have
already
to
gonna
be
burn in
crooked.
hell. We all know that because they're just by being a lawyer, by virtue of being a lawyer. So,
That's assuming that there's a hell, but sure.
well, whatever punishment there is in, you know, maybe they'll be freaking reborn as us, and then they'll have to go through a fucking lawsuit
Well, I
from
don't
Frank J and Zamboni and Company.
maybe.
That would be the ultimate karmic justice, right?
Yes, or on their way out they get sued by their but maybe they get taken out by like embezzlement and infringement or something like that.
Maybe they
I
got
don't
taken
know.
out by a Zamboni. They just like slipped on the ice, and the Zamboni
Oh,
ran them over.
oh, that'd be great.
uh,
Anyway, back to,
anyway,
back to Green Jello.
yeah. So they had a lot of success in the '90s, and specifically with the Serial Killer album, which is or the Serial Killer soundtrack album, which is what Three Little Pigs appeared on.
Yeah, my
Uh,
favorite song is Toucan Son of Sam, which
yeah,
also had a music video, but like all their music videos, which they don't have too I don't know if they have a lot, but like they have they're all like stop motion.
yeah, they're
And
like claymation, aren't they?
yeah, and it's funny because the same studio that did that is also the one who did the I think it's the prison sex video for Tool.
Yeah.
So I mean that's where the connection goes, but just I feel like stop motion, yeah, it totally works for Green Jello. And if you've seen the video, you know it's like really out there. But um it was like the number one it was the most requested video on MTV for a really long time, and it just came out of nowhere. Because like he made the video and he like wasn't expecting MTV to he sent it to MTV, like he figured, oh well, you know, maybe they'll pick it up, and it ends up being this like giant success,
Yeah.
and he starts making all of this money, and like all these like albums start flying off the shelves, and he's like, "What happened?"
Well, there's their second album, Triple Live Mother Goose at Budokan, was actually produced by Sylvia Massey. It was recorded in a garage, and Sylvia Massey is a very like prolific producer who's worked with System of a Down, Johnny Cash, the Red
Yeah,
Hot Chili Peppers. She actually works a lot with Rick Rubin, so a lot of like Rick Rubin's projects are produced by Sylvia Massey. So like the fact that like I mean that's pretty huge, and
yeah.
also like they released the
Well, she
single.
did Serial Killer also.
Yeah. and yes, and also they released a single, Electric Harley House of Love, in 93, that the video featured Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. They also did in 93 a collaboration with Hulk Hogan,
Yeah,
where they
what a
performed Gary
year.
Glitter's I'm the Leader of the Gang. Like,
What a crazy year for them.
I know, it's like, and like star-studded. Like, where the hell are all these people? Like, how? Like, like, of all the people, like Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, and then Hulk Hogan. Like, what? And this is like an underground, like, punk rock band, basically.
I feel like that was just Bill Manspeaker just like, "Oh, could we get them?" Like, just
Yeah.
asking, like, out of morbid curiosity, could we get them?
Yes. Their
Like,
album 333, which came out in 94, was an eclectic mix of music. That was, kind of like had some thrash on it, some grungy songs on it, dance music, and the bear song was apparently in Dumb and Dumber, the movie, from that album. And also in 1994, Green Jellÿ wrote and produced the soundtrack for the video game Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage.
I did
Which
not know that. I
I
played
did
the
not.
game. I didn't know.
What? Yeah, it's like, what? How? Like, I didn't even know that either.
Why?
It's just, it's like they're like the most, like, it's just so strange because like you and I are no strangers to underground music. I've listened to bands that many people have probably never heard of, as of you. So how is it that the two of us have not heard of Green Jellÿ?
I have no idea.
It really blows my mind. This is like me
They're
asking,
right up
why does
both.
this exist? Because
Yeah,
I don't
they're
understand why this
right.
exists.
This band is up both of our alleys. I'm so surprised that we never ran into this.
It again, this has to be some kind of alternate timeline
Especially the
shit.
group of friends that we were hanging out with at the time,
Yes.
who also knew about all these, like, obscure bands and, like, artists and everything.
Listen, our friend
Somehow
Chuck.
we heard of the Great Cat before we heard of Green Jellÿ.
Exactly. The Great Cat is more underground than Green Jellÿ is. I just, and especially, our friend Chuck, we've mentioned on the show our friend Chuck before. He like has shown us so many different, like, crazy underground metal and punk bands over the years. And like, I don't understand how he never showed us Green Jellÿ.
I don't know. I am it's a Chuck kind of band. I have no idea how.
I'm calling out all of our friends in the metal scene that we've hung out with over the years. How, if any of you have heard of Green Jellÿ, please contact us, or like and if you did before this show, why didn't you tell us about them? Because we would have loved to book them at the Meat Locker and play and open for them. This would have been like the perfect band.
Yeah, maybe we would have ended up touring with them.
Yes. Maybe we would have been inspired to keep going with Zamboni after playing with them.
Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, Vice did a really cool, like, short documentary on them that I feel like anybody should check out. It's called How Green Jellÿ Became the World's Worst Band. It's their local legends piece. It is fascinating. Also, Bill Manspeaker's wife is really hot. Um, his he has, I forgot what the first son's name, but he has two kids. They both have, like, interesting names. I forgot what the first one's name is, but the second one, and they have Green Jellÿ has a song of about him too, called "Chaos Destroyer of the Universe." But his son's name is Chaos Diablo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they, like, show him in the music video, and, like, well, they show him in the Vice thing. He's like 8, probably 9 now, and, like, it's just fun. And he's talking about how, like, he didn't have a father because his father passed away when he was 2. So
Mhm.
he just knew, like, what he's doing basically for his son is to, like, try to be the dad that he always wanted.
Yeah.
Um where, like, he's just having fun with his kid all the time, and um and he's just letting his kid wear whatever he wants. Like his kid like went to school or something in like a full blown skeleton like outfit
That's awesome.
because he just wanted to, and he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And he's like, "I don't want." He's like, "The whole reason why I've been able to do everything that I did is because my mom said you should do it because I didn't have a dad. So that's all her." And his and what he's like wants to do, he's like, don't let the I don't want the world to just like drag my kid down and destroy him or anything. I don't want to like tell him, oh well, you have to get a job, you have to do this. I want to tell him that he can do whatever he wants and he should have fun, and not let the just not let the world like suck him down like everything like it does, like chew him up and spit him out like it does for everybody else.
Hmm.
Like I just wanted to do his thing and be happy,
Yeah.
which is really all you can ask for.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, that's kind of like I feel the same way. I just want my son to be happy in life, and I think you know eh, happy kids lead to happy functional adults.
Yeah,
So I think that's the best thing you could do for your kids. If you can't, you know, obviously, especially in this economy, it's really hard to provide like, monetary things, and like, everyone's struggling right now, and it's hard when you have kids because like, it's, like things are expensive, especially kids things. So, but you know what? If a kid is happy, if you could give them good experiences, that's really all that matters. You don't have to have a nice car or like a friggin' giant mansion. So you could be happy with like a small house or small apartment, and an average car and whatever, and it's all about like how you experience life.
right. Like that's something that I always try to tell people, and it's like it's not about the little things.
No,
I mean, I'm sorry, it
well,
is
it is
about the
about
little things.
yeah,
It's not about the big things. That's what I
no,
meant to say. It's like you don't like you said, it's all these material items. You can keep that to a minimum. You don't need all of it.
yeah,
What you need is to make sure that just try to find happiness in everything. Try to find something good in everything
yeah.
because it's there. Just really, and when you find that good little thing, hold on to it for a minute and just appreciate it
Yeah.
because it's in everything, and you know you'll realize that that'll probably make you happier than having like a giant house, because if you have like the thing about material items is they lose their luster
Yeah.
eventually. you know you get the nice house, and then you live in it for a while, and then you don't really care about it as much,
Yeah.
or you don't appreciate it as much. You walk around and you say, "Okay, yeah, this is my house." It goes from being, "I love this house," to being, "Yeah, I'm home." Or, or you get the nice car, you drive the car around, and then, you know, maybe you like, maybe after a couple of years, the paint is a little bit rusted or whatever,
Listen,
and then
a
you're just
car is the
like,
worst investment ever.
"Yeah,
It just does
it
nothing
is."
but depreciate. So,
Yeah,
you don't have to freaking driving a fancy car is just stupid. It's just, like I always like thought like, oh, if I was ever like rich, I would have like the only really big fancy car that I would want is like a Mustang, because I think Mustangs are awesome. But it's not like about like, oh, because it's like flashy or something. I just like them. I like that they're like a muscle car and they're an American made muscle car, like a
yeah,
classic Mustang, you know. But like, you know, that's like that's like a different kind of thing. Like, if you're getting like a classic car, like that's like I don't know. I feel like it's not the same as like trying to drive like a Ferrari or Bugatti or something like that. That's just like literally like, oh, look how much money I have kind of
yeah.
thing.
There's no need for it.
No. Like I appreciate like an American muscle car because it's like of how like well it was built, and it was literally made just for like to be like this powerful machine. And
Mm,
like the sound, and it's like a visceral experience, kind of.
yeah. The
Uh,
Anyway,
so
the point is
yeah,
that like you don't need material items. You just need you just need to hold on to little things and appreciate
Yes.
life,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
And
it's way better to appreciate like things that don't cost anything. Like, well, they always say the best things in life are free, and that is kind of true. Like, because you know, going for like a walk in the park, or like watching, like, just like looking at nature, or seeing like snow-capped mountains and stuff like that. Like, that's like the shit that sticks with you,
yeah.
So
Speaking of
I think
shit that sticks with you, Green Jelly's live performances are crazy. They like
yes,
there's people walking around in like paper mache, like out like headgear and stuff, just like, and there's various members going on and off stage at a time because, like we said, the fans are participating. So you really never know what's going on with this, and he just finds a weird way to just like there's total chaos all the time, and they're always filming everything and like trying to broadcast it or stream it, and like the man is insane in the best possible way.
yes. Yeah, literally Green Jelly embodies everything that we were doing with Zamboni. Like, we were just like trying to have a good time. And how many times, especially when we were having our drummer problems, we would just pick somebody out of the crowd to play drums.
Oh yeah, we did
Like,
that all the time, and they would
yeah,
be like, "But I don't know the songs." We would say, "I don't care.
just yeah,
Just
downbeat.
play, yeah, just play whatever, just play whatever you think feels right."
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, more
And
often than not, it worked.
it really, like, it upsets me that we didn't get to play with Jello,
I
because
know,
like it would have been perfect. Like, we literally would have been like the perfect opening band for them.
I
Like,
know.
it's the same mentality, the same everything.
Yeah, well, maybe the next thing we might.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we should resurrect Zamboni and change the name slightly so it's not Zamboni anymore.
I guess we could.
But then we have to, of course, worry about Lord Petrus.
Well, maybe we could be Zomboni like the Great Cat
That's true.
had christened
Zamboni.
us. Yeah, I don't know,
That would be good.
and we would put in when we would like end it IE
Yeah.
so that it's very clear.
Oh my god. I think we just did it. We're doing it.
And
We'll just make a sacrifice to Lord Petrus so he leaves us alone this
we
time.
can make the O, I don't know, we could put an umlaut over the O and the
We've
I. I don't
Yeah.
know. We can do
Yeah,
weird stuff.
we could.
We, are we getting the band back together?
Oh my god, we're getting the band back together right now.
Is this what's happening?
Folks listening at home, all two of you, you heard it here first. The band's getting back together.
We're gonna reform. We're gonna change names. We're gonna do all kinds of odd ideas.
And we're playing with Green Jellÿ.
Yeah, we're gonna do all those things and more.
New album coming out next year.
Yep. Why
Mark
not?
my words, we're doing it now. See, now
Well,
we've made a promise to the people, so we have to.
no, but it's just two people. Fuck them.
Well,
They're not even giving us money on Patreon.
well,
We have
maybe
no we have no deal with them.
yeah, we don't have a deal with them. Well, maybe if someone bankrolls us by buying the $10,000 Patreon level and
Oh, don't
making
do
us
that.
review Lulu,
Don't do that.
do it, because then we could use that. We could actually put that money to good use.
Yes, we
See,
could.
we could turn that frown upside down, and
I think
bankroll our next album.
I don't think anyone who's on the other end of this is going to have their frown turned upside down.
Well, if you're listening to this right now, we know that's like a 10,000 is like a friggin' drop in the bucket for you. You could spare it. Just give it to us.
A drop, it's like spitting in the bucket.
It's
It's
like
not
friggin'
even putting a penny inside.
it's like a friggin' water molecule in the bucket. That's like one
Sure.
share of Tesla. Actually,
Oh,
I think Tesla's kind of fallen, so it's probably more than one share, but still, it's you could afford it. We all know you can.
yeah. Anybody with money that just needs to throw it just to throw around to a charitable donation, give to the Human Fund.
Yeah, it's money for people.
Patreon.com/why does this exist, or buy me a coffee /why does this exist, right? Yeah, /why does this exist.
Yes.
Either of
And that
those.
money is gonna go to making the next Zomboni album.
Yes.
And it's gonna be called Zomboni again. And well, Zomboni, see? And we'll do it.
Sure. All
And
right.
then we're gonna
Well,
tour with Green Jelly. That's the
yes.
plan. Green
Yes.
Jello.
Green Jello, and I guess we can do Arno Core too.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be the perfect tour.
I would be so happy
All
if we
right,
could just do
we gotta
that.
book this shit now. Look, this is like, listen, we're talking about this. This is like ideas are forming in my head. This has got to happen now.
Oh boy. All right.
Let's get
Well,
we're gonna get Holtzfeuer on the line, and we're gonna get Bill Manspeaker. We're gonna find out how to get in touch with him, and we're making this happen.
okay.
And if anybody out there listening is a drummer, come drum for us because we need one.
Yeah,
It would be nice to have a live drummer. If we're gonna
it
go on
would.
tour, we need to have a live drummer. It was
Well,
nice.
just any drummer in the audience, just show up.
Yeah, it's not hard
That's
to
all
play our
we ask
songs.
of
It's
you.
just basically
No.
downbeat punk beats. You know, you could. It's
Yeah.
easy.
I mean, that's all it needs to be. That's the beauty of that.
All right, I'm gonna start playing. I'm gonna start rehearsing our songs. I'm rehearsing our set list again. I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I've helped save your life tonight.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, Green Jelly. Let's all green. Thank Green Jello for it.
all
Green
thanks to
Jelly
Green
Jello.
Jello. Hooray.
You've re-inspired us to be musicians again.
Sure. Anyway, thank you, Green Jello, Green Jelly, whatever you are. We appreciate each and every one of you listening at home or somewhere. If you're a neighbor who has been tormented by this, well, sorry, not sorry. Do the same to your other neighbor who's doing this to you, and then none of you can be happy. Or do it to your neighbor whom you don't like.
Or just put it out your window and make the whole neighborhood listen to it.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning, nonetheless, because that seems to be when all noisy neighbors love to act up.
Yep.
Just do it during the witching hour. But if you live in my apartment building, don't.
Well, you don't
Just
need
don't
it.
do that.
You already heard it. You recorded it.
I
You're
know.
listening to it as we record. So.
I know, and I don't want to be bothered by this in 3 hours.
Exactly. It's yeah.
Anyway, this has been Why Does This Exist? I've been Chris,
And I've been Rob.
and remember, question everything.
Good night, everybody.